Hello, this is Dr. Young, and this is your last lecture. Can you believe that? It's been 12 weeks. So here we are at the very end, and this is the last chapter, the Lean Strategy. In your main text, the Lean Strategy. This is the conclusion part. And again, this is not going to be a long lecture either because there's going to be other supplemental resources with real examples that I'm going to add into your class. So I want you to, there'll be videos and readings, and I just want you to go over those. But I do want to go over this last chapter. And I want to also thank you for being in my class this term. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found this class interesting. I hope you find that this whole process something you might use. And, you might be in a situation where your organization is going through a lean transformation, but you might also be in a position to use some of the strategies in this class at minimum in your own workplace. Like I said, the overall purpose of lean is to create efficiency, maximize profit, less waste. You can always use less waste. So even if you're not in charge of a corporation and you can't direct or influence a complete lean transformation right now in your organization, you can still use some of the practices that you learned in this class to make a difference in your own area where you work. So, final thoughts on lean. So the final thoughts. What are the final thoughts? Well, we have, and again, there's lean strategy rests on the lean learning system, and strategic learning occurs on 3 levels. So let's talk about strategic learning, because that's where it's the foundational components of lean being successful. Team-based agility makes it easier to respond and adapt processes to customer uses. So team-based agility, flexible teams. That's important for the success. Kaizen events are very important. Learning activities are important. You have to learn skills, brainstorming, creativity. You want to foster that creativity as a manager. You want to foster that trust. Hey, we need to make some changes. Let's try some things. Let's see if we can change some of the processes that we have. What can we try? And just be that encourager, the consultant, the mentor. And these events are necessary for that transformation and decreasing the waste across the board and increasing efficiency. So those are important. The boss doesn't know best in lean all the time. The boss is instrumental and very important. The boss would have experience, provides mentorship, encouragement, but this authoritarian type of situation is being turned up on its head pretty much. So continuous Kaizen and learning build up strategic capabilities that build and extend to innovation and sustainability until the practice becomes a habit. So that's the whole key there, is to make it a habit. And that's where, like I said, that's where you differentiate between companies that use lean and have success at the transformation, have kept up the philosophy, and have created a company that operates completely differently than it did with lean principles, versus the company that does it, gets, cuts waste by this much money, or, reaches their goal and says, okay, we're done. Let's go back to the way it was. And that happens a lot. CEOs who succeed with lean share 3 traits. They look for an experienced sensei they can work with after seeing the possibilities of lean. Now, I'm not sure if we talked a lot about senseis. And that's something that, I don't think that terminology, it may have been in your text before. I think it has, but in my lecture specifically, I don't think we talked much about lean senseis. But it's basically an expert in lean. They're very experienced. Like the person that wrote your textbook here, the lean turnaround. I'm sure he's a sensei. He's done many lean transformations. So they look for a sensei and they accept the exercises and advice from the sensei and learn by doing. Even if it is counterintuitive to what they know, which is interesting because this is always the challenge. A person that is used to managing, or a CEO that's used to leading in a certain way, is going to have that instinct of, oh, this doesn't seem right. But you got to overcome that and push through it for lean transformation. They commit to a culture of learning. It includes failing in order to grow. We've learned that you can't, you have to fail to succeed many times. You learn from each failure. You become better after each failure. So that's the point there. You have to be able to do that. Sometimes when we get to at a point where we're in a management or a leadership position, we think, well, I'm here now, so everything I do is right, and I know what I'm doing. So, but no, you're always learning, and you're always going to fail. You have to recognize that and use that. So that's another thing that a CEO or any lean leader needs to be able to do, is to be able to fail. And here is an interview I want you to check out by Jacob Stoller. And it's the Lean CEO. And that's just a perspective of someone who has experience in that. And then Lean offers a way to reconcile business with customers, people with their work, and company with external partners. And we've talked about all this throughout the class, how Lean affects the customer. Customer gets more value out of whatever they're ordering. The employees get more connection with their work. They're more motivated and passionate about their work because they have so much ownership over their work. And then the company with suppliers, external partners as well. Because there's also, you've got your people and the public that buy your product, but then you have customers who might buy, or you could have customers that buy your product to make their product. So those are different dynamics. But Lean works through all of those relationships. And when it permeates all those relationships, it creates value for everybody. Okay, so your final exam will contain multiple choice, true, false questions. I know I haven't put assignments on the lectures because usually I'm going to do those separately. But for this one, I'm just going to go and talk about the final here. Multiple choice, true, false, and essay format. There are 20 questions and you will have 90 minutes to complete the test. Essay questions need to be answered with a minimum of 1 paragraph. In my world, that's 5 complete sentences. So make sure that your paragraphs are full and substantive. And the test does cover the entire course. If you have any questions about this, let me know. And I really appreciate you listening. And have a great week. And don't forget to look at the other video about I know you've probably been doing it all term, obviously. The other videos that I post with your going over your assignments. But if you have any questions or concerns, let me know. Thank you for being in my class again. I wish you all the best. And please keep my name and contact info. If I could ever help you with anything, I'll be happy to. I hope you enjoyed the class, and the best of luck to you all.